morning, beloveds. I was expecting yesterday to be a much heavier day at work than it was. It was still a pretty busy day. We had lots of customers and, you could tell we'd been closed for a week. The problem is we were expecting a huge order. It didn't show up. It was supposed to be there on Friday. Didn't show. Didn't come yesterday. So now I'm worried that it's going to come today. I'm hoping it comes today because we need to get that order in. All right. We are on chapter 22 in the Science of Mind text. I show you the cover so you know which one I'm in. Because if you don't have this particular one, page numbers probably don't line up. So I'm starting on 357 if you have this particular one. It's 13 pages, so we'll do, it's going to take at least 2, maybe 3. All right, so let's start with the section called Who is Christ? Who is Christ? The Son, begotten of the only Father, not the only begotten Son of God. The mystical conception of Christ means the universality of childship, embodied in any individual who recognizes this childship. Eckhart, one of the great mystics of the Middle Ages, said, God never begot but one Son, but the eternal is forever begetting the only begotten. This conveys the same sense as our New Testament statement, world without end. This world forms and disintegrates as the body does, but creation goes on forever. Therefore, the eternal is forever begetting that which is the realization of its own perfection. It is an eternal process. It is the child of God, and the child of God is Christ. Christ means the universal idea of childship, of which each is a member. That is why we are spoken of as members of that one body, and why we are told to have that mind in us, which is also in Christ Jesus. Each partakes of the Christ nature to the degree that the Christ is revealed through them, and to the degree that they become the Christ. We should turn to that living presence within, which is the Spirit in heaven, recognize it as the one and only power in the universe, unify with it, declare our word to be the presence, power, and activity of this one. We should speak the word with belief in its power, because the law is the servant of the Spirit. If we could stand aside and let the one perfect life flow through us, we could not help healing people. This is the highest form of healing. We have gone through many abstract processes of reasoning and have found out that what the law is and how it works. Now we can forget all about the law and know that there is nothing but the word. The law will be working automatically. We must forget everything else and let our word be spoken with a deep inner realization of love, beauty, peace, poise, power, and of the great presence of life at the point of our own consciousness. Okay, we're going to take a pause here. It says, if we could stand aside and let the one perfect life flow through us, we could not help healing people. So here's what I'm going to remind you, is that when you are authentically yourself and you give people around you permission to be their authentic selves, that is the most healing thing that we can do. Okay? Ernest Holmes says that people are dying to be told that they're okay. Yeah. And so when you, and that's what that sentence is. When you are authentically yourself, when you allow that inner presence to flow through you, and you are authentically yourself, and you give the people around you the permission to be authentically themselves, meaning you take your expectations of who they should be off of them, honestly, it is the most healing thing you can do. And it starts there. It starts there. All right, back to the reading. Because this is kind of heavy duty, out there, theological. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Okay. All right. Back to the reading. There is a place in the mentality, in the heights of its greatest realization, where it throws itself with complete abandonment into the very center of the universe. There is a point in the supreme moment of realization where the individual merges with the universe, but not to the loss of their individuality, where a sense of the oneness of all life so enters. Hang on. Sorry. I think the punctuation just got me. Okay. There is a point in the supreme moment of realization where the individual merges with the universe, but not to the loss of their individuality, where the sense of oneness of all life so enters their being that there is no sense of otherness. There is here that mentality. It is here that the mentality performs some seeming miracles, because there is nothing to hinder the whole from coming through. We can do this only by providing the mental equivalence of life, by dwelling and meditating upon the immensity of life and the fact that as vast, as immense, as limitless as it is, the whole of it is brought to the point of our own consciousness. I hope you appreciate that you're not getting a perfect reading, that you see where I struggle, so that you go back and see, oh, wait, that was kind of important, and that's why she went back. That's why this is never going to be perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. I want you to see where I go, oh, wait a minute, hang on, let me try that again. We comprehend the infinite only to the degree that it expresses itself through us, becoming to us that which we believe it to be. So we daily practice our meditations, the meditation of life, the infinite indwelling spirit within me, Almighty God within me, real substance within me, that which is truth within me. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No person cometh unto the Spirit but by me. How true this is. We cannot come unto the Spirit which art in heaven except through our own nature. Right here, through our own nature, is the gateway and the path which leads to illumination, to realization, to inspiration, to the intuitive perception of everything. The highest faculty in people is intuition, and it comes to a point sometimes where, with no process of reasoning at all, they instantly know. Christ is the embodiment of divine childship, which has come with varying degrees of power to all people in all ages and to every person in some degree. Christ is a universal presence. Here's where I'm going to note to you, in Western Christianity, we call it the Christ presence. In Buddhism, they would call it the Buddha presence. I'm not sure what they would call it in Islam, but in any other religion, they all have the name for it. It exists in every religion. It's, so don't get hung up on the terminology. Okay. One of the things that makes me absolutely crazy about Christianity is I cannot believe in a God that would condemn people to hell for never having heard the name Jesus. Okay. The Christ presence exists everywhere in everybody. We just all have different names for it. Okay. Bear that in mind. It's just like I've had to learn when I'm reading books by Christian authors, when they start talking about sin, because it just, ugh, I substitute the word ego for sin, and then I go, okay, I got it. So, we kill each other literally over semantics. Okay, back to, we do believe, which, by the way, that was my personal opinion, okay? I don't know that Science of Mind supports that, just so you know. All right. We do believe that in the unique personage of Jesus, this Christ was more fully orbed than in anyone of whom we have record. We do believe that in the person of Jesus, more of God was manifest. We also believe that Christ comes alike to each and all. There is no one particular person predestined to become the Christ. We must understand the Christ is not a person, but a principle. It is impossible for Jesus not to have become the Christ, as the human gave way to the divine, as the man gave way to God, as the flesh gave way to spirit, as the will of division gave way to the will of unity. Jesus, the man, became a living embodiment of the Christ. If we can look upon Jesus from this viewpoint, we shall be able to study his life as a living example. Side note here, one of my beefs with Christianity is that they've made Jesus an exception. And you just heard Ernest say, he's not an exception. He is an example. We can live up to that. Okay? Back to the reading. What is more inspiring than to contemplate the consciousness of a person who has the faith to stand in front of a paralyzed man and tell him to get up and walk, and know very well that he is going to get up and walk, or stand in front of the tomb of a dead man and tell him to come forth? Such an example as this is worth something. But if the whole performance were enacted in the mind of a person entirely unique and different from us, then it would mean no more to us than studying the biography of 100 other people. Fortunately, we do not have to contemplate Jesus as being unique and different, for the Bible makes it more than plain that he was a man like as we are. He is a person like as we are. Okay? Okay, deep breath, deep breath. As the human gives way to the divine, in all people, they become the Christ. In the case of Jesus, there was such a surrendering as an isolated will that a great incarnation of the divine actually took place. The mystic Christ comes from the bosom of the unseen spirit, proclaiming the love of God through his own love of humanity. All right, hang on. I'm taking a look here. Okay. All right. This looks like a poem. So, I don't know. So, all right, let's see. Asleep in the heart of cosmic love, unborn, universal, potential, the Christ child lay, and the great mother soul, brooding over her unborn child, conceived it in stillness of her universal nature, imparting it to her own being. Born into time and experience, unnoticed, unseen, yet alive and aware, the Christ child incarnated in human form, taking the likeness of men and women, and yet giving no sign of its presence, waiting with utmost patience and love the revelation that should disclose itself and proclaim the reign of peace. Many ages passed and vanished in the long yesterday of time, and still the Christ child waited. Nations appeared and disappeared, toil, famine, pestilence, and want, hunger, cold, heat, and thirst, war, hatred, blood, and ruin, and still the seed of perfection unrevealed. But the universal wholeness cannot be forever subjected, nor cosmic love be kept from human form. That which was given must be revealed. The seed of perfection must burst. The shoots of heavenly planting must break the cords that bind, fanning the human into a blaze divine. And so the long-appointed day arrived. A voice out of the stillness spoke, "This is my beloved Son. Let the earth be still in his presence. Let the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and all living creatures be still. Let the hosts of heaven sing praises, and let deep cry unto deep." Thus spoke the child, "I come to bring peace. I am the child of joy, and to all who will I give life. I am formed of happiness. I come from the eternal stillness. Quietness and confidence are mine. In the heart of the Father I lived forever. O nations and all people, look unto me and be saved. Behold my face shining as the sun, and my feet shod with righteousness. In my left hand are riches and honor, and in my right peace forevermore. All that I am, all that I have, I give." That's the end of the poem. Okay. Christ, the idea of universal childship, the entire creation, both visible and invisible. There is one spirit of all. This one spirit, conceiving within itself, gives birth to all the divine ideas. The sum total of all these ideas constitutes the mystic Christ. Jesus understood his own nature. He knew that the human embodies the divine. It manifests the Christ nature. Jesus never thought of himself as different from others. His whole teaching was His whole teaching was that what he did, others could do. His whole teaching was that what he did, others could do. He located God and the kingdom of heaven within himself. He had plunged beneath the material surface of creation and found its spiritual cause. This cause he called God, or he called it the Father. Okay, I would call it the Spirit. It is now nearly 2,000 years since it's been more than 2,000 years now. Yeah. Again, written in 1927. Okay, sorry. It is now more than 2,000 years since this wonderful man labored in the vineyard of human endeavor, pointing a way to eternal reality. Centuries have passed, nations have risen only to decline and fall. Science has solved many problems. Invention has harnessed subtle forces, and our land is filled with institutions of learning. But the world is looking for another great teacher, one who will again show it the way. Never before was there such an inquiry into the hidden meaning of things. Never such a searching as after God and reality. It seems as though all people are engaged in this search, and that no one can be satisfied until they have made the great discovery for themselves. But how few have come to the real truth, the realization that God is indwelling in the soul and spirit of people. And yet this realization is what gave Jesus his wonderful power. This and a correct knowledge of spiritual law in the mental world. Woo! Okay then. Which reminds me of an old saying where they were talking about the divinity of the human race. And so God was talking to the angels, and the angels were like, well, why don't we put it in the highest mountain? And God said, nope, Eventually they'll get to the highest mountain. And he said, well, the angels were like, well, let's put it in the deepest of the seas. And God said, nope, eventually they're going to get to the deepest of seas. And then the angels were like, well, what about in the deep reaches of space? And God said, no, eventually they'll get there. Let's put it inside of them. They almost never look there. All right. And that is how I'm going to wrap this up. So we are going to start tomorrow on page 162 with the section that's called God, Infinite Personality. I'm also, I guess I will give you the, I think it's Meister Eckhart, who has the quote that says, what good is the Christ born 2,000 years ago if he's not born in me every day? So, which is the point Ernest is making. It's like the Christ is already within you. Ernest is telling you the Christ consciousness is within you. Look within you, activate the Christ consciousness, and your life will be better. And don't get caught up, as I said, in semantics. If you're uncomfortable calling it the Christ consciousness, you can call it whatever you like. Point being, it is the spirit within you. You want to find God, look within. You can read all of the books, listen to all of the teachers, but until you turn within, it's all theory. It's all theory. You got to put it in practice. All right, beloveds, that's where I'm going to end today. So just quick housekeeping. I'm going to remind you that one of the ways that you can support the center is to engage with our social media. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark on the social medias that we are on. I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on, so feel free to go and like and subscribe and share and follow and do all of that. It helps bump us in the algorithms, and we think we have an important message to get out there. We would like to help people make their lives better. Like, we can't do it for them, but we have some tools. So, all right. If you want more information about the center, please email info@creativelife.org. That is a constant contact. You get one email a week unless something unusual happens, i.e. a hurricane. Or you can also go to the website, creativelife.org. Okay. Now I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. You got started on the right track day, get some stuff done day, some finish up some tasks day, go read something fun day, read something serious day, do your spiritual practices day, call a friend day, hug your fur babies day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right? Explore the truth of your being. That's where it all comes from. Go within. That's where the Christ is located. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.